What's good YouTube? Welcome to my channel, Lars in Conditioning. I heard you want to use intensity techniques, but how long do you need to have trained before you can start using them? Let's get right into it. Firstly, what is an intensity technique? It's a method of training that forces you to work harder. There's a wide array of methods that can be used. Perhaps the most popular and well known would be superset and drop set. Something like supersets you could potentially use from the day that you start. Now what you could doesn't mean you should, because you're new and you need to build up your form with each movement before you jump into doing two movements back to back. Personally, I recommend you train a year before you start using any of these type of methods because you have the need to develop your form and base at first. Supersets can be very demanding and your cardiovascular ability could limit you. This could also depend on your type of superset you're doing and how good or bad shape you are in. Some of the much lesser known techniques are cluster sets, density training, and the same goes for complexes, which has all been covered in other videos and what they are and how to use them. Look for how to use with the methods name inserted. Give it a good 1 to 2 years minimum before you start using these methods. Maybe aside from superset that you can use just a few months after you start training. It will be harder, however you also get to be able to spend less time in the gym. It is very common that people start using these things before they're trained for very long. The group of people I see doing the most is teenage boys. When you're new, you just need to train semi-hard and eat well and you will grow. You do not need a large amount of training volume. So often I see teenage boys doing 4 exercises for biceps with 3 to 4 sets per movement. You are not a pro bodybuilder in high amounts of PEDs. When you're new, you really don't need that much in order to grow. Over time, you will get to need a little more. However, something like biceps typically don't need that much volume per session. Due to the size of the muscle, you can also train them more often, at least if you don't go YOLO ham on 4 movements with 3 to 4 sets per movement. That's going to be 12 to 16 sets per session. Personally, I do 6 sets twice a week for bicep with over a decade of training and respond perfectly fine to just that. That will of course not be everybody. This is merely to paint a picture of how you don't need that much. People have different needs, and however, you will not come close to ever needing 12 sets twice a week when you're new. The least amount you can do is grow, is what you should do. There's no need to do all this volume, which something like drop set, cluster sets, density training gives. An increase in volume and an increase in load per rep. You really need to have a base before you start touching these things. Otherwise, it's asking for trouble in form of injuries at worst, and at best you spin your wheels and get no progress at all. Outside of supersets and drop sets, give it a bare minimum of 1 to 2 years of solid training before you start using any other intensity methods used, as you need some sort of base build first. This means 1 to 2 years where you progress, not just 1 to 2 years where you follow bad advice from people that leaves you stuck, such as following main gaining. That will never help you. It's just a ticket to no Gainesville. Thank you for watching, share and subscribe. Lars in Conditioning, signing out. See you next one. Have an awesome day.